So this year is the second half of the Eccentrics Unite presentation. Well, I don't intend to be present. Quentin Crisp is going to be running it, and I'll show you Quentin's hat. I wanted to strip it down this year. I didn't want to use a video projector. Just when I realized why the video projector in the venue wasn't working last year, it turned out it needed software updating. I had to go all the way to the Apple Store to find that out. So this one I picked up on eBay, which is meant to be Quentin's fedora, and it's bloody awful. It's more like a Stetson. But then I walked into a charity shop a few days after I ordered this thing. And what did I find? I found this. Bloody thing's got a life of its own. I found this well upon my soul. How did Quentin Crisp come to be synonymous with the fedora? Well, there's a story I found in a book I have on Quentin. And where is my book on Quentin? Hang on. Here we go. I'll do my reading, everybody. That he'd gone to see a photographer who was going to take his picture. That's one reason you go there. And he walked in with the fedora on, and he said somebody walked up to him in the street. This thing's got a life of its own. My God, what's going on here? It's plugged in as well. It's plugged into a power supply, and it's messing about. Somebody walked up to him in the street and said, I think you'd look much better in this than I would. And they gave him the hat, you see, and this became a bit of a trademark for him. And I think it's going to be really useful flyering in Edinburgh. I think it'll suit Mr. Wady just fine. And he needs a bit of feminization as well. He's such an alpha male. We really do have to do something about him. After all, I always identified as female. Is this working? Good. Well, as you know, last year I attempted to slaughter the Scottish accent and produce a mild brogue that was the Port McGonagall. Some of you may know of his works. A loyal subject of Her Majesty, Queen Victoria. McGonagall will be appearing, reading his works. Hello. Can you realize, can you remember, can you recognize, can you think? Could you even imagine how I'm supposed to be here? Ha ha! Yes. Gonna Terence Allen Milligan. No wonder the book's upside down. It's not really him. It's a man pretending to be a dead man. This is actually the cap I used for Stanley Green, who I've done more research on. That I visited the Gunnersbury Park Museum, and they had a whole frieze on Stanley Green with some more information about him that I didn't know. And then they had all these Doctor Who and Blake Seven and even Red Dwarf props around this 200-year-old mansion, which had been owned by a major Jewish family in London banking in the 19th century. Oh, I think it's the Rothschilds. And it was lovely to get close to their lives, although they are long gone, to enter their living room and to get an essence of the family and the children and their growth, and their wedding happened there one time. That's covered. This thing's got... God, what's going on here? Stand still. Stand still. I'm trying to give a talk. And also, at the same time, to have that interest, to see the kitchens and see how the house was run. There was a wonderful frieze on how the house was run. And I'm not going to stop this. I'm just going to try and keep it aligned. And at the same time, you got integrated into the genre of fiction that I was so obsessed with 40 years ago. Science fiction was my big thing. It was all action and technology rather than relationships. I wonder why. Or it was Spike Milligan humor. I knew who he was before I knew about the Goons. So we're going to discuss the man from Pune who was excitedly told by Daddy one day, we're going back to the homeland. We're actually going to live in Bexley Heath. Yeah. Oh, what's Bexley Heath like? And off they went. And also about his mental health issues and the mortar attack in Italy and what his life was like. And how his daughter said he kind of lived in his head. And I'm trying to get some very personal details as well as funny details. I want them to be in the room, and I want an essence of the love that they had and that they felt, as much as the trials they faced, this healthy balance. So I want people to come out from the show having experienced somebody and been uplifted by it, I think, a neurodiverse person. Milligan, according to Professor Michael FITZPATRICK at the University of Dublin, who I swapped books with, he was half autistic and half bipolar. He's convinced of it. I even saw him at Dublin Airport asking for some low-fat sugar. Good old Milligan. And can I just add that as a child in the 70s, it was very important for me to find the likes of Salvador Dali and Spike Milligan, because it meant I wasn't alone, and this was very important to me, to know that whatever I was part of a world of my kind, the eccentrics. The later on got called the outsiders, but I can't lay claim to any great mental illness in my life, anything I've ever seen or recover from, which is one reason why at the age of 60 I'm carrying on like this. I'm just so robust. It's not a boast, because you have to suffer to know you can recover. And you have to get into these things to get out of them. So don't you think I think I'm big and strong and tough and I don't have problems. Of course I've got problems. I have problems every day. But for me, it's all about recovery, constant recovery in the big things, the small things. And that's very much something I try to preach. If you really love yourself, you're halfway there. And that's a very important thing about shows. Right. For God's sake, hold still. I'm trying to make a film. Bloody hell, it's like the Terminator, you know, the machines rebel against the humans. So, gentle audience, if you would like to come and see me, I'm on the Cowgate again. I'm in Bar 50 again, which it was me, I tell you. I came up with the name The Access Bar, because we were trying to think of something, and I came up with various names like, you know, Palace of Wady and whatever. And they didn't like that. Here we go. But I thought of The Access Bar. It's going to be all the neurodiverse and disabled and performance there. It's got total wheelchair access. It's brilliant. And I'm going to be at 1 o'clock from the 2nd to the 25th, every day except Mondays when I lie in state, because I'm like old. And I hope you come and see all my friends. And I have many friends there now who will also be on. Do I keep going out of focus? I think I do. It's ridiculous. And have a good time on the Edinburgh Fringe. And if you want to see the show where you live, that's not a paunch, it's just a bit of packing I've got there, then invite me to come and play, because I haven't toured for years, not since Stealth Avenue. I just never bother. You know, it's not I can't. I just... Come here. You're going to have to hold it. It's not... Technology. It's not that I can't... The bloody gimbals. Hang on, turn it off. It's not that I can't perform. It's... I give up. Come here. It's not. This is what's been causing the trouble. Bloody thing. It's not that I can't perform. It's just that I never bothered to go and get myself booking. So I need to get organised, get myself bookings. I've got a friend who wants to help me doing it anyway. And tour around for 2025, you see. So I need to get organised this year. And I also need to get onto the press and say, why don't you come and see me? People do come and see me from the press, but they never leave review because they can't handle it. They're seeing something that's a bit beyond them. It's the idea of you're not giving the boo-hoo me pity porn. You always want to be positive about these things. So I hope all that gives you a sense of how my mind works and how the show's going to be and how it's just not that simple about autism is one thing, for example. May you all be happy and well and beautiful.